Hey folks, I'm Tom Bassel.
Jason Levine.
And there are some companies that release piles and piles of games every year. And there are some companies that release a few games each year. One of those companies is CGE. Now for the last year and a half, they've been dominated by one game. That is Codenames. But Codenames is a departure from what they normally do. They normally do heavy games, Dungeon Lords, Dungeon Pets, or crazy games like Space Alert and Galaxy Trucker. Well, now they've done something that I'm kind of surprised about. This is called Adrenaline. Adrenaline is a first-person shooter Euro game. Does that sound right?
Pew, pew.
Yes. I'm sure you just angered a lot of people who like first-person shooters. But there is certainly, it is a category that's been around for many years in gaming, at least 20-plus years. And now it's as a board game. This game has gotten a lot of hype. It's certainly one of the most hyped games of S in 2016. We're going to go in and tell you if the hype is real. So here's the board made up of different rooms, and players are going to be running around these rooms with their different mechs, and each person has a different character, and the characters come with these nice different mechs. One of them looks like a Space Marine, one is looks like a have a nice day type of robot. And so each of these players is going to start with these, and you're going to be spawning onto the board, grabbing weapons, and shooting each other. So I guess I should explain how you get points first. You're going to get points by killing other players. Now, whenever you shoot another player and do damage to another player, you will put damage on that player. So if purple does damage to gray, purple would put 1 there. Maybe later on, yellow would do 2 more damage to gray, and yellow would put some more damage. And we keep going until we kill this player. Now, when you kill a player, you're going to see whoever did the first point of damage gets a point. And then you're going to total up whoever has the most here. Whoever's done the most damage is going to get 8 points. The second most, 6 points, then 4, then 2, etc. And you will split these ties based on who did points first. So if this player was killed, and let's say purple did some damage here, green did some damage, let's add some more green, and then, well, gray wouldn't do damage to himself. And then we got yellow, 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 and then blue is the one who killed him here at the end. So yellow has 4, green has 3, purple has 2, blue has 1. So yellow gets 8 points, purple gets 1, plus 4 for being third place, so 5 points. Green gets 6 points, and blue gets 1 point. However, blue gets the headshot. So they're going to put it over here on the board, replacing one of these. When 8 deaths have occurred, the game will end. And blue will get one of these skulls. And the reason that, or blue is going to get a point, the skull goes on the gray player here, which means the next time they're killed, they're worth fewer points. So the more times you're killed, the less tempting of a target you are. Also, when you're killed, all your damage comes off, and you're ready to go again, you'll respawn on the board. At the end of the game, whoever has the most kills is going to get 8, 6, 4, 2, etc. You also get an extra point when you kill 2 people at the same time. Now, the way the game is going to progress is on a player's turn, they have 2 actions. They can do the same action twice, or they can pick 2 different actions. One is movement, where they're simply going to take their character and move up to 3 spaces. 1, 2, 3. There's doors and walls that you can't go through, etc. You could also move and pick something up. When a character moves, they can pick up one of these tokens here, which is going to be replaced from another token at the end of their turn. Most of the time, these are ammunition cubes. They're red, blue, and yellow. You can only have 3 of each ammunition cube at a time, and you will keep these ammunition cubes that you get on your board here. Sometimes you're going to get cards. These cards will double as different things. You can use those as ammunition cubes, use them as colors to buy things, or they give you a special ability. Their special abilities are not too difficult because there's only like 4 of them. Like you can move anywhere on the board that you want, you can do an extra damage to somebody, you can mark someone who's done damage to you. What is marking? Sometimes you can mark somebody. Different cards and abilities will let you mark someone. You put a token here. If someone overkills you, does more damage than you need, you get to mark them as revenge. The next time you do a damage to that person, all your marks move down and become damage too. So that's a pretty neat thing. It's a way to go after somebody. You can also pick up a weapon. There are weapons at the spawn point. When you pick up a weapon, you simply pay the cost of that weapon in ammo cubes, and then you take that weapon and put it in your hand. and then we will replace that weapon if there is any. Players can have a maximum of 3 weapons during the course of the game. You can get more, but you have to discard one. When you pick one up, you will then drop one of your weapons in that spot. And the last thing you can do on your turn is you can shoot people. So you move us. You can't move, but if you have in range of somebody, you can shoot them. Range in this game is pretty simple. You can see everybody in the same room as you, or you can see in any room where you're next to the door. So yellow, this person here can see all 4 of these spots, and he can see both of these blue spots. This character here can see both blue spots, and he can see this spot, and he can see both red spots because he's next to the door there. So after that, you will look at the gun that you're using, and you'll do whatever that gun says. Every gun will do different things. They all have special abilities. They can be confusing what they do, but there's a special rulebook that comes, and once you use the gun once, you know how to use it. When you use a gun, you have the ability to pay ammo cubes to upgrade it. For example, this is the Thor, also chain lightning. So I can hit somebody in my line of sight for 2 damage. And then if I pay an extra blue ammunition cube from my supply, I can hit someone that person can see for a point of damage. And then if I pay another blue cube, I can hit someone that person can see for 2 more damage. Once you use a weapon, that card will go in front of you. It's basically you've used it up. At the end of your turn, if you pay blue and red cubes again, you can pick it up. So you can keep using the weapons over and over again, but you're going to need to collect cubes and use those to be able to get these different weapons that are out there. And like I said, there's all sorts of neat weapons. We got a plasma gun that lets you move and do extra damage. The Whisper, this does 3 damage and a mark, but you can't hit anyone who's on the same space as you. The Cyber Blade is someone you're going to hit in the same spot as you. The Electro Scythe, the Rocket Launcher, you can do a ton of damage in one area. The ZX2 Furnace can heat up everybody in one room. The Railgun can shoot through walls. The Sledgehammer is, well, going to hammer someone and could possibly throw them backwards. And so players will be using these weapons and running around. There's a special thing that when you get to the end, there's a final round after the last skull marker has been removed from the board. Everybody will get one kind of super action where you can move extra or multiple actions, and then the game ends, and whoever has the most points wins. The boards are modular in a sense, so I could flip this over if I want a tighter board. I can flip it over like that, and this one can also be flipped over too. So you can play with a very small board or a larger board, and it can accommodate up to the 5 players that way. Now, before we played this game, Jason told me quite a few times that you really enjoyed it. But
Yes.
you know, I was kind of curious, went into it. I didn't look at the game very much. The first thing I'll say is I was very happy with the components of the game. It looks like a generic first-person shooter. I like the miniatures. I like the boards. I like that the health tokens are those plastic cards. I love the clear cubes. I'm not a big fan of cubes, but clear ones always make me happier for some reason. I like the... It's interesting that the guns are all completely different. And you really will... There's a rule book, and then there's this book here called the Weapons Manual. And you will definitely need this, right?
Yes.
But what I really like is you look at the gun one time. I don't think you ever look at it again, do you? Once you know how that gun works, it's like, oh, this gun shoots 3 spaces, does 2 damage. Bam.
Exactly. You're like, I've got a sledgehammer now. I know what I can do. I can hit the guy and he's going to bounce back a space and take 3 damage. And you just know when you have a weapon, first you're like, what does this do? But once you see it, you're like, I've got this weapon, I'm holding it. And you feel like you're really holding it and you're like attacking everyone else.
And this really does have all the guns that from the big ones. You know, it has the BFG. It has the, I mean, it's not called that, but it has the gravity gun. But it also has the rocket launcher, flamethrower, grenade launcher, shotgun, you know, power glove. And each of these weapons feels very different. And some of them are more powerful than others. But the game really does a good job with that by making you spend 3 cubes each time that you shoot one of those.
Yes.
Which is essentially an entire action. Because if the gun takes 3 cubes to shoot, the only way you can shoot that the next turn is if you find a thing that gives you those exact 3 cubes, which will not happen much of the time. So it's going to take a couple actions to reload that gun.
Yes.
But here's what I really want to get into, and I'm sure you're going to agree with me on this one, is this game is really not about, it is about shooting, right? It's certainly we run around shooting stuff, but some people are turning away like, no, 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 no. But the game doesn't feel... Oh, it's hard to explain.
Because it's not. It's because, here's the thing about the game. Even though you feel like it's a first-person shooter and you're shooting everyone else, the game is really an area control game. The game is about getting area control as you kill the other people and getting the most hits on everyone else.
Yeah, and I think that that's an important distinction, because on one hand it's like, yeah, oh, I sliced you with this and shot you with this, and that's all well and cool, but you're really not doing any kind of real damage to those people. They don't have, if you hit me, I don't lose points.
No, and when you get hit, it's actually good for you. Like, I didn't mind getting hit because as you get hit, you start to get more adrenaline.
Right, and that's actually the name of the game, and I probably should have pointed that out in the overview, that as you take damage, you can move 2 spaces and grab something. Then you can move and attack. And that
so it's like as you're getting hit, your adrenaline boosts, and you're like even in more turbo mode and running around, picking up things, shooting until you finally die. And then you got to start over.
Yeah, but the dying isn't so bad. You respawn.
Yes.
I mean, it's the worst thing that dying does to you is it's like, oh, I was about to do this move next turn, now I might have to take an extra move. It's really not that bad. The worst things, the times you're going to get the most upset in this game is when someone steals your kill, or when you had the most damage on someone and someone else beats you in some tie or something like that. That's the more annoyed you're going to get. So if you're like, oh, I don't like games where you go around and shoot people, you still might like this. I really think that.
Yes, because you're not focusing on one person. You're kind of shooting around and trying to hit everyone equally because you want to get in on everyone so you can get some points from every single person when they die.
You want the first shot, and yeah, you want to get points from everybody, and that's how you're going to win the game. It's like any other area control game. Sure, it's important to have the most, but it's even more important to have your hand in every pie, which means shoot everybody.
Yes, or like me, just wait till the end and get that last kill shot in.
Now, there is a couple other things. The game comes with 2 other modes. There's a turret mode, where some of the things can be turrets. You can run a turrets, or you can go and try to attack the different spawning points, which is essentially another level of area control that's added to the game. There's also a bot that you can play with that will run around and attack people. Basically, just if you want a more crowded feel and you don't have enough players. I think the sweet spot for the game is 4 players. 5 is fine, but it takes a little bit longer to get to your turn.
True.
3 is good, but it's not as crowded, right? So 4 is good, but it plays well with all the number of players.
Yes.
And it's one of those games that as soon as I was done playing it, I'm sitting there thinking, we could play this one again. Because it's just neat, and each gun has such a cool, distinctive feel to it. I can already imagine expansions and things with, or just more cards. Like, oh, this card works, and this thing works.
Yes. Even the base cards, the teleport card and the add an extra damage card, there could be more base cards put in too with the little mini cards. There's a lot of ways for this game to expand, and it's so worth it because it's just fun to play. And unlike most of this style game where you're rolling dice, there's no dice in this game. It's diceless. And to me, that adds a lot to it because I'm not a big fan of generally this style game, but I find this one amazing because of the pure skill, no dice.
Well, I do like dice, okay, but I don't mind the lack of it in this game. Now, I will say, if there is one flaw that I would find in this game, and I really like it, don't get me wrong, is that the game really isn't that deep. You are simply moving around and shooting other people. If you win, it's because you spread your shots out the most, not because of a good decision you made on turn 4 and 5. You know what I mean? There's not a lot of forward planning in this game. You're just jumping in and going, da-da-da-da-da-da, and that's really fun. It's King of Tokyo fun, in a sense. Actually, it's more complicated than King of Tokyo, but it's also not a very complicated Euro game or anything.
No.
I could teach you this game like in 2 minutes now.
I mean, the game that I compare it to most would probably be Ultimate Warriors because it has that same feel where you're beating on everyone else.
Okay, that's a very
and you're
good
in a
comparison.
room, but it has much more Euro mechanics with the way you're laying the damage and going for area control, so it's a deeper game than that.
You're making me think this might be a good one for us to play live at some point, but we'll see. It's definitely one that I'm going to be adding to my collection. I like it a lot. My awesomeness rating for this is an 8. I think it's streamlined, it's fun, it's fast, it looks good, and it's one of those games of the year where there's games where you're like, that is an amazing game. This game is so cool. This game is just fun. You're just going around, and it's like playing one of those first-person shooters that are really fun without any of those annoying people who are doxing you all the time. I can just play this and go for it.
Yep, exactly. I mean, my awesomeness rating is also an 8, and I really, really like it. I liked it before. I kept telling him, you're going to want to play this as soon as we get it at Essen, because I had already played it, and the slight changes they made from the first time I played it actually balanced the game better, and I think it's well worth adding to your collection. Czech Games has done it again.
Alrighty.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.